And we're going to meet with the writers and the cast of Now Apocalypse, premiering March 10th on the Starz Network. Stay tuned. We're going to have some great stuff for you. Okay, so tell me about your first impressions when you first got the script.
I'd never read anything like it before. And when I first read it, I knew what character I was up for, and I really fell in love with the character. I thought it was really cool. The character's like this mysterious enigma that's also really sincere in person and really sweet, and is in this punk band. And I don't know, I'd never played a role like that before. And the show itself was just radical.
Right.
It's the only word I could think of for it. It was like, this show's fucking gnarly. And I had a lot of questions, so I sat with Greg, and he kind of filled me in on the tone and what he was trying to do, and everything was going to be tasteful. Because, as an actor, you kind of always anticipate getting a role where you have to show your ass or be naked or be really vulnerable, and you want to make sure it's a really good role and really tasteful. And I was pumped. The second I read it, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing show. It's the Now Apocalypse. That's kind of how I always tell it to people. It's that, and like it's original. It's quirky, and it's beautiful, and never been done before. And I think everyone that's a part of it, and Carly and Kelli, and everyone that's it's a unique cast with highly talented individuals with beauty and grace and just quirkiness and comedy, and it's special. And I'm very happy to be a part of this.
I'm just out here supporting young Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? I love being able to see all these young, amazing actors and then having them join the Starz family. I'm like, hell yeah.
So have you gotten to see any of the episodes or read any of the
No,
script?
I have not seen anything. So I'm really excited. I hear it's sexy.
Yeah, that definitely is. So what is your first impressions of what you heard about the show, and what are you excited to see the most?
I think I'm excited to see the lizard, because that's very different. And I'm also excited. I've heard it's really fun. It's really kind of crazy, very LA, and I'm from LA, so I love that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming out for the support, and I hope you enjoy the premiere.
Thank you so much.
How many drafts did you have to go through before you got a shootable pilot?
Ooh, good question. We developed the pilot for about a year, but it was really slow. It was like he'd send me a draft, and then 2 months later, I'd send back scenes. So we were both working on other projects. But, when we pitched the show, we pitched it with a written pilot, and the pilot didn't really change before we shot it, which is an anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starz really gave us immense creative independence, and their notes on the show were really minimal, which I think, again, is just a very unique development process. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. All right. It was great to speak. You too. So what was your inspiration in the show? Where did the origin come from?
The show is really, I wanted to do this really pop, really fun, really sexy show that was not like anything else on television. I just want to do something, I didn't want to do anything that was like, oh yeah, that's kind of like that show. I wanted to do something, and I've been making movies for 25, 30 years, so I'm sort of an independent filmmaker who kind of does my own sort of crazy thing. And this show is literally like my dream show. It's like I sat down a few years ago and it was really like, if I could do any show in the world, what would it be? And I started thinking about this idea and this concept, and I met her on a movie we were working on together, and it just became this thing that I sort of describe it as like a queer Sex in the City with a bit of Twin Peaks and a Alien.
Should I do another one?
And the actors there, did you write when you wrote for them? Were they who you had in mind
Several of them. I had met Avan on. I'd met Avan on a short film we did together, and so I sort of like pictured him in my mind when I was writing for Ulysses. And then this guy, I had never worked with him before, but I'd met him a few times on some auditions and stuff. And the same with Tyler as well. I'd also met Tyler. I'd never worked with Tyler. So when I was writing those characters, I sort of thought I kind of had their picture in my head. And Roxane, back there somewhere, is I had worked with her on a film Kaboom about 8 years ago, and I just love her to death, and I wrote the part of Severine just for her.
You are watching That's Why Entertainment. We'll be right back.
Roxane Mesquida, and I play Severine.
Okay. And what was your first impressions of when you first got the script?
To be honest, I worked with Greg before, Greg Araki, the director and writer of the show, and I actually said yes before reading the script because I love him so much and I'm such a huge fan of his work. I know it would be awesome, and so I would say the first impression, it was like I was very happy that my character was so cool. She's a little emotionless and very French. So.
Was there a table read with a cast? And if there was, what kind of experience was that? Or was it something where you just got on the set and you just did it?
No, we had a table read. I think it lasted like 5 hours. It was crazy. We read all the episodes. And I was just so impressed by how people were, like all the cast was so good, and we're laughing so much. So we felt the tone right away. I didn't realize it was that funny before we read all together.
Tell me about your first impressions of Daphne. When you first got the script?
I mean, I think your first impression is that like, wow, this girl is really quite rough. And she has a goal and she's just going to go for it. But then when you really think about the characters and some of the subtleties in it, you can see that she's actually kind of sweet. There's a sweet side to her, even though on the outside she's this like rough and tumble, like tough girl, badass bitch. But I feel like the interesting thing about her is that there are two very contrasting sides.
So tell me a little bit about where you got to take part in the table read.
No, actually. No, we just went for it. The first time I read with Beau was the day we shot it.
Awesome. Yeah. And how were the impressions the chemistry?
Oh, with this one right here, I mean, it's not hard.
All right, well, thank you for your time. It was great speaking with you.
My first impressions were, I love this person. Because it's not every day, especially in Los Angeles, where you meet such open-hearted, curious individuals. And this guy has there's no wall up, to a fault, where he just wants to be happy and to love his girlfriend. And there's something so sweet about that. And I love that right from the go.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I read it and I was like, this is me. Like, I mean, it wasn't me. It's not like me. The character is not like me. She's actually like a very like meek, kind of shy girl trying to be an actor, and she's a bad actor. So I would say none of those things are like me because I am a good actor and I'm not shy, clearly. But I was like, oh, I got this. Like, I know this girl from acting class, from growing up, like going to acting classes, wanting to be an actor and seeing like those people that we'll see about them, but they're trying and they really want to get into it. So I just thought it was so funny and so like real, which is really cool because it felt like it was like so familiar and yet nothing I'd ever read before. And I just feel like that's when you know it's good, yeah.
So tell me about the set chemistry, because were you a part of the table read or?
I was not part of the table read. I just came on kind of when they'd already started filming, but I walked in and it was like, oh, you're our cousin, come to our family table that we've already been at for a few days or whatever. And I was like, oh, thank you so much, this is great. I just felt like everyone was so nice and like so connected and so like chill. Like it wasn't like show up, it was just like show up and we'll do our thing, we'll play, we'll have fun, and it was so fun, yeah.
As an actor and being part of Star's family, it's a show that's probably going to be mirrored against our show when we premiere next week.
Okay.
That, I don't know much about this show, so I'm excited to see what happens. I really don't. I'm going in there blind, man.
All right.
But our show is it's just about gods behaving badly, man. You know, and it's based on a novel, and we have a huge fan base, and people love it, and they're going to be excited to see season 2.
So what was your first impressions when you first got the script of the character?
It was, oh my God. I read all 10 episodes at once, and let me tell you, it's insane. And as the season goes along, it just gets crazier and crazier. But I loved it. It's very unique. You've never seen anything like this on TV before, which I love. It's psychedelic. It's really cool. It's weird, but I think that's the draw of the show.
Right. So tell me about the. Do you guys have a table read? So tell me about that. And how did that go along with the chemistry of the cast?
So we read all 10 episodes at one table read. We were there for like 5 hours. We were delirious by the end of it. But it was really fun hearing it out loud for the first time and hearing how everyone's interprets their characters and how they interact. But it was fun. It was great, and that was like the first glimpse into it all. So seeing it from there to now this is pretty cool.
Avan, Jogia, and I play Ulysses in Now Apocalypse.
Okay.
Stars, March 10th, 9 p.m.
All right, great.
Yeah.
I got an. So tell me about the table read when you or actually before we go to that, your first impressions when you first read the script.
Well, Greg sent me the script. I'd worked with Greg on a short film previous to that. I just think I think Greg is an amazing creator, amazing filmmaker, and amazing vision. He's got an amazing vision. And so when he sent me the script and he said that he kind of wrote this character with me in mind, I mean, it's a huge compliment and it's massively flattering. And so I thought to myself, like, well, I got to read it, but I'm already in because I love Greg. And I read it and it was like, it was incredible. It's like, it's so crazy. It's so unlike anything else on television. And that interests me,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and real briefly, tell me a little bit about the table read, the impressions with the rest of the cast and the chemistry.
Well, it was great. It was a 5-hour table read because we read all the episodes all at once, and it was really like everyone clicked immediately, and it was like a really good time. So, and we kind of knew it was gonna go well.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm Rob Day with That's Why Entertainment. What's yours?